Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your educator. I warmly welcome you all on our YouTube platform where we in today's video are going to move forward and discuss one of the prominent Indian novelists that is really very important whenever the Indian writing in English portion of your syllabus is concerned. So who are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about Bankim Chandra Chatterjee or Chattopadhyay, right? So he was a person, here's a picture. So he was a person who was born in the year 1838 in West Bengal and he passed away in 1894. If we try to talk about, he passed away in Kolkata, right? So this was some brief detail about the time span that he lived in, where was he born and where he died. Now if we move forward, we need to know one more thing, and there are several facts that are also there. Which of course are pretty much important as far as your UGC NET preparation is concerned. So when I talk about Bankim Chandra Chatterjee here, he was one such person who is known as the father of modern novel in India. We will be dealing with several questions which are related to the author as well. But if we try to talk about the type of scenery that he builds, that brings us to a school of fiction which was based on the European model. Why am I talking about the European model here is because of the fact that in the European fiction, we see that the domestic sphere is talked about majorly. So he was taking into account some sort of inspiration from that European model and penning the things that he wanted to. That's why we see him writing the first fiction to appear in print, which was Raj Mohan's Wife. This work of his, mind you my dear students, bar question aaya hua hai. This work of his is the one which is solely in English. The other works that he wrote were in Bengali, right? But this work was specifically in English language, and if we try to talk about, this was one such novel which is considered to be the first English novel written by an Indian. We will be gradually moving forward to those many facts as well. जब हम इन सभी की summaries भी करेंगे कुछ works की, right? He is the author of Vande Mataram, which is considered the national song of India. So if you see, we will be also seeing कि ये Vande Mataram जो था गाना किस particular work में इन्होंने coin करा था, बनाया था, compose करा था. He was educated from the University of Calcutta, and at that point of time, only approximately 3 universities were there, out of which one prominent university was of Calcutta, and we see this particular writer, studying from there, and that's why he even got the chance to be selected in the provincial civil services, right? तो अगर हम देखते हैं अपनी पढ़ाई की वजह से, अपनी contributions की वजह से, he is not just a novelist in the Indian English field, but he is also a poet, right? He is the pioneer of the return of the Bengali literature. As I told you, that the rest of the works that we are going to see, they majorly will be in the language of Bengali, right? Solely the work in English is Raj Mohan's Wife. Moving forward, several essays he has written on the origin of Hindu festivals, Bengali literature, the study of Hindu philosophy, Vedic literature, his spirited defense of Hinduism in Letters of Hinduism appeared in print in 1940, long after his death. So if we try to talk about his death was somewhere or the other, if I take you back here again, he passed away in 1894. But if we see him writing, getting his work, that is the defense on Hinduism that was being published, that was published long after his death. Now when we see that the writer, जिनके works उनकी death के बाद publish होते हैं, उन works को what do we know as? We call them that those works are published posthumously, right? It means published after the death. Moving forward, we see the Raj Mohan's Wife. This is a novel in the first Indian novel in English by an Indian. Now that's the picture that I have for you as the front page, the title cover of the book. Moving forward, this was a question which was asked that this particular book was printed in a Calcutta weekly. Weekly means एक हफ्ते में serialized form में, मतलब कुछ portions जो होते थे, they were published in which particular magazine, the Indian Field, in 1864, though it appeared in book form only in the year 1935. 1935 से पहले, when he was penning it down, when he was getting it published, it was just coming in the form of a magazine. It speaks to an emergent genre in the literature of the colonial modernity, that we see that in this particular work of his, we see that yes, of course, the writer is moving forward, the writer is coming forward, and we see the domestic and social novel rising, for which he had taken inspiration from the European model, because वो लोग domestic spheres को, spaces को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से दिखा रहे थे. The background of the work is revolt of 1857, which is considered the first war of independence का time जो इंडिया में था, right? It's a melodramatic tale of the trials of a typical long-suffering Hindu wife, जिनका नाम है मतंगिनी, और जिनके husband है राजमोहन, who is not a good husband at all. He is a bully. He is an abusive husband. Right? And the setting is East Bengal village, as of course I told you, यहाँ पे. So there are 4 major characters. I am not going to give you the detailed summary here. That you will have to do on your own only. Coming back to the point, to the 4 characters that we have. Matangini is the protagonist here, right? She is the eponymous wife of Raj Mohan and the protagonist, because Raj Mohan's wife के ऊपर ये title जो है वो लिखा गया है. Coming to Raj Mohan, he is the abusive husband of Matangini. So both of them are married. Then we see Himangini, who is the sister of Matangini, छोटी बहन है Matangini की, and Himangini के husband कौन है? Madhav Ghose. Now, Matangini and Raj Mohan, they live together. He's an abusive husband. He does not work. And just because, for the sake of her husband, because Pativrata Sri जैसे Indian context में देखते हैं, she wants her husband to work. So she asked अपनी younger sister को ही कि Madhav Ghose, who has gotten fortune from a relative, तो ये financially stable हो गए अब, right? So Matangini बोलती हैं हिमांगिनी को कि please help my husband get a job through Madhav. So one way or the other, we also see that Raj Mohan is an abusive husband. He is a person who will keep on conspiring. And he wants the entire property of Madhav now. So he plans to get Madhav killed. What happens next? Of course, Matangini is somebody who somewhere or the other likes Madhav, and she overhears this entire plan of looting Madhav and later murdering him. So what's the next thing? That is why I'm saying that you all are supposed to read the summary of this work very much on your own. Moving forward, we have Durgesh Nandini. Durgesh Nandini was his first Bengali romance and the first ever novel in Bengali, which was published in 1865. These are the minor facts. तो ये छोटे notes भी आप लोग बना लोगे अपने Indian writing के लिए. They are going to serve the purpose here, right? Here we see a Rajput hero and a Bengali heroine, and we need to make sure that we are noting down the name of Damodar Mukhopadhyay, because he is one such person who wrote Nawab Nandini, which was a sequel to Durgesh Nandini, right, in 1901. He is one such person. हम आगे भी एक novel करेंगे, उनका भी ये sequel लिखेंगे. So that is why it is important. आजकल के जो question papers आ रहे हैं, उसमें we are seeing that very many questions from Indian literature are being asked. So you need to be prepared from each and every angle. Moving forward, we have Kapal Kundala, which was published in the year 1866. It is first major publication, बहुत अच्छी बिकी थी. This was very much sold, and if we talk about the heroine, she is modeled partly after Kalidas ki Shakuntala and Shakespeare ki Miranda. Why? Because here we are also going to see that a character is going to come to an island, and वहाँ पे जैसे मिरांडा रह रही थी टेम्पेस्ट में, उसी तरीके से we will see the protagonist, the girl living here, right? Forest dwelling girl named Kapal Kundala, जिनके ऊपर ये टाइटल रखा गया है. She fell in love with a guy named Nab Kumar. Now Nab Kumar जो है, कैसे, how both of them fell in love is a story to talk about. पहले ये देख लेते हैं that दामोदर मुखोपाध्याय ने ही कपाल कुंडला का he produced a sequel to the same thing by the name Mrinmay, right? So यहाँ पे दुर्गेश नंदिनी का sequel was नबाब नंदिनी and कपाल कुंडला का sequel was मृणमय. Moving to the major characters, Nava Kumar is a person जो कि एक shipwreck की वजह से he has landed on an island and where he meets Kapal Kundala who is living there with her mother, and there's the tantric whose name is Kapalik, right? This is one such person. ये Kapalik जो है, he is one sort of a guy जिन्होंने कपाल कुंडला का बचपन से बहुत अच्छे से ख्याल रखा होता है, just like a fatherly figure. So when he sees that Nava Kumar, and Kapal Kundla, they both of them are getting closer, he feels envied and he does not like it, and he wants to get Nava Kumar killed by performing some sort of sacrifice. Coming back to the story again, we have Padmavati, जो कि पहले नव कुमार की बीवी होती थी, and later on she converted to Islam and named her own self Moti Bibi. Now when she also comes to know that Nav Kumar is falling in love with a woman, right, Kapal Kundala, she is also enraged. So she comes there and with the tantric, ये दोनों जने जो हैं ये मिल जाते हैं, and the tantric says, तांत्रिक नव कुमार को बोलता है कि तुम्हारी बीवी जो कपाल कुंडला है, she is having an affair with a guy. So the tantric takes Nava Kumar with him, and on the other side we see that Kapal Kundala is called by a woman who is disguised in the guise of a man. जो एक आदमी का रूप लेके आई होती हैं, वो पद्मावती होती हैं, right? And then when Nava Kumar sees this Padmavati disguised as a man and Kapal Kundala together talking, right? Then he feels like, yes, of course, his wife is infidel to him, unfaithful hai. So he comes in front of her and asks her like, why are you doing this? What is this? All these things he asks the questions, and then later on we find that because of the fact that Kapal Kundala says that he, she loves him, but he did not believe it, she, drowns herself. She jumps into the river and drowns herself. And फिर पीछे Nava Kumar, he also, is the one जो वहाँ पे jump कर देते हैं, right? So this is the entire story. You need to read more about it. Then we see Bang Darshan was a monthly literary magazine which started in April 1872, और इसमें majorly we see the works of Bankim Chandra Chatterjee being published, right? इसमें novel, stories, sketches, historical, all सारी चीजें आती थी, and majorly we see the first novel of Chattopadhyay to appear serially, मतलब तोड़ के serialized form में in Bang Darshan जो आई थी उसका नाम था Vish Briksh, which means if we translate it into English, the poison tree, right? Then we move to Dev Chadurani. It's a Bengali novel. इसका बोला जाता है that 15-page fragment of the English translation of this is supposedly said कि बंकिम चंद्र खुद try कर रहे थे उसको translate करने का, right? In his own handwriting, Devi Chadurani. When we move forward, we see that later on, because of the fact that he could not translate it completely, later on we see Subodh Chandra Mitra translating it entirely into English. It was banned by the British because of certain content that they did not like. Then we have the most famous work of his, Rajmohan wife के बाद जो आता है, that is Anand Mat. If we try to translate its title, it translates to the Abbey of Bliss, right? Written during the time when the Indian freedom movement was gaining momentum, and that is when we also see it was also banned by the British because वो Indian nationalistic spirit जगा रही थी, patriotic spirit जगा रही थी amongst the people who were there. Set during the famine in 1770, and we also see that Bande Mataram was a song, the national, Indian national song was composed in this particular work of his only. So here we see characters such as Mahendra, Kalyani, Sukumari and Satyanand, and 3 names of Mother India are mentioned, Jagadatri, Kali and Durga. Coming back to the story here, Mahendra, he is one such person who is a wealthy landowner. He is forced to leave his place because of the Bengal famine that happened in 1770. And we also see that how Kalyani and Sukumari Kalyani और Mahendra की बेटी है, and when they try to leave the place because of certain hush and push, both of them, the husband and the wife, get separated. With the wife is the girl child, right? Later on we see that there are riots which are also broken out. तो सत्यानंद जो है वो सुकुमारी और कल्याणी को बचाते हैं, at the end both the husband and the wife, they unite together, right? Now I have several questions here for you all. The agenda should be for you all to pause the video here, read the question carefully, then try to answer, because I will be moving forward with the answer itself, right? So the answer to this first question is, which talks about that what is not true about Rajmohan's wife. So the answer is option A, that Bankim Chandra published it soon after serialization and was elated in its first copy. This one is not true. The rest of the statements are that yes, of course, it was serialized in 1864 in a short-lived magazine, जिसका नाम हमने पहले slides में पढ़ा था, The Indian Field in Calcutta, because it was a Calcutta weekly, right? Common Consent, it is the first novel in English by an Indian, already given you the fact about this as well. Vivid description of the routine of Bengal households, I told you already that Bankim Chandra Chatterjee was one such person who was talking about the domestic spaces as well, right? The next question we have is to match the books with the names of the authors. Pause your screens again. The right answer to this question is also option A. That is, A is to 2, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee to Rajmohan's wife, Mulkraj Anand, Untouchable. C is to 4, Panchpuri Khan, The Revelations of an Orderly, and Kamla Sathiranandan, Stories from an Indian Christian Life. Then we have the last question for today. Which of the following novels of Bankim Chandra is set against the background of the Bengal famine of 1770? We just talked about it. I am pretty sure that you also know it. And the Sannyasi rebellion of 72-73. The answer to this question is option A, that is Anand Mat. If we translate it to English, what do we mean? The Abbey of Bliss. With this, I hope all the things with regards to the concept that I tried to bring forward with the author of Indian Writing in English, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, is clear to you all. If you still have any doubts, you can drop them down in the comment section below. I will try to reply for sure. Till then, keep on studying. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye-bye.